We're putting some of the most popular DIY sunscreen recipes to the test to see if they actually live up to the online hype.
Does it actually give you any protection, and are you going to be burnt to a crisp or somehow protected from the sun?
We're going to break down everything you need to know about DIY sunscreens today. I'm Dr. Whitney Bowe. And this is my teenage daughter, McLean.
Hi there.
The sun and its rays, iconic, but very misunderstood.
So we're breaking it down. No scare tactics, no fear.
No boring lectures.
Just what actually matters. Myths debunked.
Science decoded.
This is the burning truth. DIY sunscreen recipes have been blowing up on social media, and with millions of views, everyone's curious, including me. And my friends and I want to know if either of them offer any sun protection.
So to make sure that we are cooking up these recipes correctly, we've actually invited a professional chef, Chef Eitan. So, I have a question for you because this is a little bit personal for you, right?
Yeah, no, I am very diligent about my sunscreen. Most of the men in my family have had some form of skin cancer, and I don't want to add to that list, so I protect myself. So the recipe for this DIY beef tallow sunscreen, of course, starts with beef tallow, which is melted cow fat. Let's be clear what we're using here.
Yum.
We then over here have some crushed up marigolds, and we're also adding carrot seed oil and lavender oil because beef tallow smells horrible.
Chef Eitan, professional chef extraordinaire, that is an ingredient you probably don't usually use.
Never used it in the kitchen, I could say that confidently.
And it is non-nano zinc oxide over here, which is gonna be the key ingredient.
The secret to every good recipe.
The secret sauce.
Now, I think I already know the answer, but does beef tallow have any SPF naturally in it?
For the record, beef tallow offers virtually zero protection against UVA or UVB.
I'm making the coconut oil recipe, so let's see how this goes. These ingredients actually cost me 3 times the amount that just buying a sunscreen at the store would. First, I'm gonna add my coconut oil. This is very thick. I don't think I would want this on my skin. Beeswax, some shea butter, drops of jojoba oil.
Beef tallow goes in our bowl. Do you want to grab those sun-dried marigolds? You can kind of crush them in.
Okay.
We're basically kind of infusing them into our beef tallow. The way they say to melt it in the recipe is we are going to place it onto a double boiler.
Okay.
So it's a pot on a low flame with a little water, and then that is going to very gently melt our tallow. It's kind of like how you melt chocolate.
Yes, exactly.
Right now, this stuff is all hard and clumpy and doesn't look like something I'd want to put on my skin, but let's see how it looks after I melt it. Now that's supposed to melt down for a little while, so I'll give it a stir and see what happens.
Our beef tallow is starting to melt.
Still pretty chunky, and it looks really greasy.
Just smell this. It fully just still smells like beef tallow.
Ugh, this is totally unpleasant.
All right, now we can strain.
Okay.
We have our marigold beef tallow tea. I'll add some carrot seed oil if you want to add the lavender.
For this next part, I have to suit up with my mask and goggles. Now it's time to add the non-nano zinc oxide.
My concern is that there's just no way we could actually get a good enough emulsification.
Yes.
So you can slowly add it while I whisk, because we'll try our best, but my gut's saying this is not gonna happen.
So zinc oxide is a great ingredient. I am a big fan. But the key is even distribution, right? So in a lab, they actually use special equipment to ensure that it's being distributed evenly to give you that uniform protection. If it clumps, right, that's not good.
Yeah,
because you need to get that even film on the skin to actually have you be protected.
Yeah, we don't want sunscreen here, but not here. Yeah,
you got it.
Okay, that makes sense. So, my main concern here would be that we don't know how even the solidification is gonna be and if it's gonna separate at all. Just pop this in the fridge, and now we have about an hour to kill.
Let's go grab some lunch, or we could take a walk and buy some sunscreen.
Buy some real sunscreen.
The non-nano zinc oxide was the part that was supposed to protect us from the sun. But since it's still in this bowl, not even in the mixture, I don't think it can even do that. And it also spilled a little and it got hard instantly. But let's put it in the fridge and see what happens.
So it has been in the fridge for an hour.
Wait a sec.
I do want to note the tallow's on top and it appears that the powder's on the bottom. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it appears that what we're gonna actually rub on our skin right now is purely beef tallow.
Until you get to the very bottom, I think that's where the zinc settled. So not feeling great about
I'm
this.
gonna do it on my hand. Ooh, I do not like how that feels also.
Okay, here we go. Wow. That is greasy.
I feel like a freshly tallowed steak ready to go in the grill.
Let's put our DIY sunscreen recipes to the test. Chef Eitan, thank you.
Thank
This
you.
was so much fun. And I'm gonna keep you posted. I'm gonna let you know what the results
Please
show.
do.
So I guess it's ready, so we're gonna open it and see how it turned out. It smells like coconut oil, smells pretty good. It's rock solid. Can't even dent it with my finger. I wonder if this offers any sun protection.
There were some older studies showing that coconut oil might give you an SPF somewhere between 4 and 7, but that has been debunked. So a 2021 study actually found that coconut oil offers you virtually 0 protection against UV rays, and that was using modern testing methods. So next, our friend Kate the Chemist is actually gonna put these DIY recipes to the test.
Sunscreen isn't guesswork, it's science! So we're putting these 2 DIY sunscreens that were made in a kitchen, not a lab, to the test. My first concern is the main ingredient, non-nano zinc oxide. Now, anybody can buy this online, but a chemist wouldn't use it without verifying exactly what it is. And quite frankly, I do not trust it. So when I purchase zinc oxide, it comes in a sealed plastic bottle, just like this, and it's shipped directly to my lab, not my house. In fact, vendors often verify that you have a laboratory-safe place to store their chemicals before they will even ship it to us. So on top of that, the zinc oxide needs to be mixed properly within our sunscreen. And this is where things can really go wrong with DIY sunscreen. Next, let's test for spreadability. Quality sunscreen is going to be perfectly even. So I've got these glass plates here, and we'll take each sunscreen and spread it across the glass plate. I don't like what I'm seeing. It's separating. Okay, let's try it again with the next one. And so here with our DIY coconut sunscreen, so let's see here. It's a lot thicker, that's for sure. So I've got all these clumps here. There's like all these different goops and glops that are sitting there. I don't like it. I want to know if these DIY sunscreens are stable or if they will grow mold. I'm just gonna get a little sample of it, and then the goal is to do a zigzag pattern across the Petri dish. So something kind of like this should work. Again, we're going to get a little bit of that coconut sample here, and I'm rotating my swab to try to cover it as much as we can. And then we're going to set those aside for about 48 hours. We'll come back and see if we have any mold. All right, it's been 48 hours and we've got mold. So after we finished filming, I set up a second plate because I wanted to make sure my results were reproducible. And look, in both of the DIY beef tallow samples, we have mold. So at least for the DIY beef tallow sunscreen, we know it's not stable, and it's another reason why we should not use that. Let's look at the DIY coconut sunscreen. So on both plates, I'm really not seeing any mold, honestly, anywhere. At least to the human eye, I'm not seeing it. What I do believe is that if I had used my bare fingers and I took the sunscreen, put it on my body, and continued to put my hands in that sample, I bet that sunscreen would have grown mold because there's no preservatives in there, and if we expose our gunk and grime that's on our fingers into here, guarantee mold would grow. Last but not least, let's test how these ingredients interact with UV light. So now what I have here are UV beads and a UV flashlight. So what happens is that these UV beads change color whenever they sense any type of UV radiation or UV energy. Now in the center of each beaker, what I've done is taken the UV beads and then coated them with the DIY sunscreen. So now let's test the beef tallow first. UV rays on. no, fail, absolutely no. This is an immediate fail. Here, let me put it forward here for you can see it. So the color is changing so quickly. That DIY beef tallow sunscreen did nothing. Hard no, I would not put that on my body. Absolutely not, gross. Okay, let's try the next one. So we're gonna put the UV flashlight on it. Immediately, y'all, immediately it's changing colors. No, fail. This DIY coconut sunscreen did absolutely nothing to stop the UV rays. This is terrible, y'all. If the light can go through that sunscreen and touch the bead and change colors, then it can absolutely go through the sunscreen and hit your skin. As a melanoma survivor, I would not use either of these sunscreens on my body. No, fail.
And there you have it, DIY sunscreen debunked.
So that means we have to share all the results with the group chat. Let's fire it up. DIY sunscreen is not reliable protection.
Beef tallow may be good for cooking French fries, but I wouldn't use it on my skin. Protect your skin with sunscreen that's actually been put to the test.
DIY your coffee order, not your sunscreen.
Chemist for the win. I'm not gambling with my skin.
Don't get burned by the sun myths you see online. Next time, we're headed to a lab to see how sunscreen is actually made.